Nobody says a thing. My associate was looks like you're there. Everybody ready? Yeah. I will call to order the April 21st, 2025 meeting of the Clackamas Fire District Board of Directors at 5 p.m. At Clackamas Fire District, we're always here for you. We value our people and the people we serve. Our focus is establishing teams, trust, empowerment, accountability, mindset, and service. If you are attending in person, please sign the sheet next to the door. Regular monthly meeting of Clackamas Fire District Board of Directors will now come to order at 5 p.m. I guess I already did that. I winged this, don't I? Per ORS 192.610 to 192.690, per ORS 192.650, this meeting is being recorded. Video recording of this meeting will be placed on the Clackamas Fire District website. At this point, please stand and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. And Senate changes, Chief Brown, any changes to the agenda?
Nope, the agenda is as stated.
Perfect. So you got the approval of minutes, regular board meeting on March 17th, 2025. Does any board member have any comments or changes to share? Thomas, Jay, any changes?
No, thank you.
There are no changes to the minutes of the regular board meeting on March 17th, 2025. Stand approved as written. I will now call for statements from citizens regarding district business. Shelby, did we have anybody sign up?
We did. We had one individual sign up and you have the sheet.
Perfect. I have that right here. If there is someone who did not sign up prior to the meeting as a public comment, there's a sign up sheet at the back of the room. If you're online, there's a raise hand function at the bottom of your screen. If you're calling in, you can select *9 to indicate a raised hand and *6 to unmute and mute. That seemed like a lot. Each person will have up to 3 minutes to share their questions or comments. Please state your name at the beginning of the question or comment. And then what we have is Ryan Dorn.
Yeah.
All right, good evening. My name is Ryan Dorn. I'm here tonight as a resident of Clackamas County, as a 20-year firefighter and station captain for Gresham Fire Department. And finally, as the vice president of Local 1062, representing members of the Gresham Professional Firefighters. Tonight, I voice strong opposition to the proposal from Clackamas County Fire District 1 to take over the fire service contract for the 3 cities of Fairview, Wood Village, and Troutdale that reside in East Multnomah County. At first glance, this proposal may seem like a viable option to increase the service area of Clackamas Fire, but when we take a closer look at the real impacts of public safety and service quality to the citizens of the 3 cities and surrounding area, it becomes clear that this contract poses serious risk. This isn't just a contract, it's a commitment to public safety, and the proposal from Fire District 1 does not meet the standard. This commitment needs fiscal responsibility to the citizens of the 3 cities. Budgets are suppressed due to the negative impacts of Measure 5 and 50. They need a fire service provider that can ensure adequate staffing, fast and consistent response times, and local reliability, not an overinflated fire service solution that puts these residents at risk because they simply inquire about what you could offer. 3 firefighters for $3 million simply isn't fair. There is absolutely zero chance for your fire district to meet nationally recognized NFPA 1710 response time standards and staffing levels for the 3 cities without the need for mutual aid from Gresham and Portland Fire. It takes a minimum of 17 firefighters to fight a house fire, 28 for apartments. On Saturday, April 19th, this past weekend, Gresham Fire successfully rescued a resident from a house fire in Troutdale that was trapped on the second floor. Gresham Fire satisfied NFPA 1710 with all units arriving less than 8 minutes. Your next closest fire engine with only 3 firefighters nearly triple that response time. It won't be until a second fire station is built that this staffing level will increase, yet still not meet national standards. I'm curious, who plans to build that fire station or pay for it? When this crew is tied up on one of the 3,000 calls for service per year between the 3 cities or busy at training, who do you plan to run their calls? You will end up relying on Gresham Fire to subsidize your misjudgment, placing additional pressure on an already burdened department and its firefighters. This is not a sustainable solution. It is a red flag. This is not the level of service these residents deserve or should pay for. The taxpayers of this fire district should be concerned with the decision and integrity of Chief Brown and this fire board in pursuit of this contract for service. The Clackamas Professional Firefighters of Local 1159 stand with Local 1062 in opposition of this proposal as they prepare for arbitration. Rather than taking on more contracts, maybe you should settle your existing obligations first and show your current employees they are valued. As a regional player in the Tri-County area, one that shares mutual aid agreements and borders with Gresham Fire, constructive and transparent communication should be prioritized. This district's actions were anything but this. Instead, you have chosen to blindside Gresham Fire and tarnish this working relationship. Thank you.
The next up, we don't have anybody else signed up. Nobody online, Shelby.
No one has raised their hand.
Okay. Then our next up, we have introductions of new hires. Chief, are you gonna take that one?
Yes, I would love it. Exciting moment for Clackamas Fire here. We have 3 sections of different portions within the organization that we'd love to introduce to you. We'll start off with Juliana, and then we'll go to Chris, and then we'll go to recruit class 2501. So Juliana, if you just come up and stand right here at the podium, Chris, do the same, and then 2501. Probably just stand up where you're at, so you're not having to walk over each other. Does that sound good?
Yes, sir.
Love it. Awesome.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Juliana Kappa. I'm the new logistics specialist here at Clackamas Fire District. I'm very excited to be here. My husband currently works here already as a firefighter stationed out at 14s. So I'm very excited to be joining the Clackamas Fire family. This is my first job in this industry, so I am brand new to the game, but I do have extensive experience in logistics and operations in just about every other field. So I hope that will serve me well here and aid me in serving the district as well as the community. So I'm really excited to work with you all and to become a part of this family. So thank you.
Love it. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, Juliana.
Hello, I'm Chris Nelson. I'm the new communications technician for Clackamas Fire. Working alongside the fleet shop, doing radios and different communications type stuff. Super excited to be here. Lots of years of radio work and also volunteering as a search and rescue member have gotten me here to be a part of this and kind of put my knowledge and skills I've learned back into something that I feel is a good mission, which is the Clackamas Fire. So I'm glad to be a part of the family and thank you.
You. Appreciate it, Chris. Maybe, yeah, good, like that.
My name is Jake Stewart. I'm a recruit firefighter paramedic here. Very excited to be here as a Marion County prior to this for 3 years. Sun River prior to that, getting my education in fire sciences and paramedicine. My wife and our young son live out in Colton. And very excited to be here.
Thank you. Welcome.
My name is Isaac Stevens. I came from Central Oregon. I did the student program at Cloverdale. Now I live with my fiance and Sandy, so I live in the district. I'm super excited to be here.
Henry Heiser. I live outside of West Salem with my wife and 2 young sons. Happy to be here, happy to serve. Prior to this, worked at Grand Ron, Sheridan, Valk, and then did a few different things in agriculture before this, mainly farming. So just happy to be here and excited to grow with it.
Hello, my name is Tyler Cook. I'm super excited to be a firefighter with Clackamas. It's been a dream of mine for the past couple of years as I started to get into fire and EMS. I'm coming from Multnomah County AMR, so this is a super exciting thing for me. And just more personally, I'm a father. I live in Salem with my wife and our 2 kids, Landon and Sophia, that are so super happy to be a part of the fire district family, so thank you.
Hello, my name is Noah Lunger. I'm originally from Eugene, Springfield area. I moved up here about 5 years ago. I spent the last 5 years working for Gresham Fire. And then I've had the opportunity to come over here, so I'm super excited to work for Clackamas. I'm really excited to be here. Me and my fiance live just above Johnson Creek, so out of the district, but I spend a lot of time in district. I have a lot of friends that live in this area, so super excited to be here. Thank you.
My name is Greg Hayner. I'm coming from Mid-Columbia Fire and Rescue down in the Dalles. Before that, I was in the student programs down in Central Oregon as well. The Clackamas Fire has been a dream, and I'm just super thankful for everyone who gave us the opportunity to live that. Personally, I live over in the Dalles with my fiance, but hoping to move closer come next month. Thank you.
My name is Isaiah Olson. I'm coming from Salem, Oregon, where I live with my wife. She's a high school Spanish teacher. Previous to this, I was working at Kaiser Fire, where I was there for 3 years or so. Working for Clackamas Fire has been a career-long goal of mine. It's still pretty hard to believe that I'm here and it's starting, so I'm very excited. Yeah, a little bit about me. Thank you.
My name is Jack Carlson, originally from San Jose, California. Coming from Carson City Fire Department in Nevada, worked there for 4 years. I also worked as a seasonal firefighter with Cal Fire. Moved up here in February with my wife Danielle. We're now closer to my family, which is absolutely amazing. And super grateful for this opportunity and all the growth that I can make here throughout my career. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Sam Olson, from Kaiser, Oregon. I live there with my wife and my 2 daughters, Brooklyn and Brenly, who are 7 and 4. Prior to this, I do have some experience from Marion County Fire District. I worked there for 3 years. Prior to that, I worked at the city of Dallas Fire and EMS for 2.5 years. Prior to that, I did some time in private EMS for the city of Salem. I also worked at Salem Hospital for about 3 years as an ER tech. Clackamas Fire is special to me. My dad lived in Oregon City most of my life growing up, so coming back home in a way, spent half my time with my mom in Silverton, half my time with my dad. The first ride-along experience I ever had was at Station 3 with Clackamas Fire when I was 16 years old. Sparked my love for the fire service, so I'm super happy to be back at kind of where it all began for me and where I get to finish my career. So thank you for having me here. It's an honor, super blessed and happy. My wife and I are looking forward to growing with the family as well. So thank you.
My name is Jake Ingram. I'm coming from Gresham Fire, live in district and boring. It's been an honor. This has been a dream for a while, so it's truly a blessing to be here and with all of you and serve the community. Thank you.
My name is John Bickle, 25 years old, originally from Canada.
And fire board meeting.
I currently live in Monmouth. Have a few years of experience in local smaller departments. And just having a blast here so far. Haven't gotten kicked out of the academy yet, so.
Let's not have the yet. Let's just.
John Serta, former volunteer here at Clackamas, and I was with Gladstone before that. And prior to that, I was with Columbia River Fire and Rescue. It's been a long time, been in the service for a long time. This has been a dream come true to be here and be a part of this, basically be a part of this family and continue that. And so I'm very thankful. My wife and I, my 3 kids live in Milwaukee, and again, I'm very happy to be here.
Ryan Denfeld. Prior to working here, I worked at Columbia River Fire and Rescue for 2.5 years, and I did some time in private EMS before that. My wife and I live in Hillsborough, and I couldn't be more proud to serve this district and work alongside these awesome gentlemen over here, as well as the rest of you. So thanks for having me.
Thank you. So, Mr. President, this is just pretty awesome. The Juliana and Chris in 2501, having them be able to be here, introduce themselves to you. It's just reflective of why Clackamas Fire family is who we are. It's amazing people. And I'm excited for this bunch to continue their service through Clackamas Fire and just stoked to have every single one of you here. If you're good with it, because I really would love for them to get home to their families, if we excuse them at this time so they can go see their families.
That would be good. Thanks for coming in, everybody, and glad we got to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. The next thing we have is budget committee member interviews. Who's doing that one? Chief, are you doing that one?
I got that one for you.
Mark, well, I suppose your finance budget members, that whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, so I believe
Figured it out intuitively.
we have two candidates with us here tonight, Scott and Lindsay, hopefully. So I think you guys have the materials there. How we would typically do it is interview them one at a time. And then allow you guys to make your selections. And I think what we normally will do for you guys is have you step out into the lobby for the other person's interview so that they get a chance to do it and then switch to the next one. So, yeah, so with that,
Okay.
turn it over.
Anybody want to go first? Lindsay?
Dealer's choice.
How about we'll do Lindsay first and Scott second? That work? Perfect, thank you.
Lindsay, if you come up to right there, that'd be great. Thank you.
Brian. Gordon has it.
Okay. We have 4 questions and we just have the same questions, so we gotta get the same to everybody, and I'll just read the questions because we figured going through the whole round thing gets confusing because I get confused easily. There's 4 questions, 5 people. Okay, so question 1, please tell us about yourself and your interest in service as your budget committee.
So my name is Lindsay Murray. I am married to Ian Murray, who is a lieutenant here with Clackamas Fire. I am a mother of a beautiful 2-year-old daughter, and I work full-time for Intel, primarily doing digital experience work, so websites and user interface, fun stuff like that. I have a master's in business, and I did own my own business for about a decade before deciding that I would actually have less work and make more money if I went back into the private sector. So my interest in this is a little bit personal in the sense that I moved into the Clackamas Fire District about 3 years ago. And through my husband, I became very, very interested in the explosive growth the organization has seen, the company culture, the family experience that everyone has. And then also just from a macro kind of environment and climate, there is a really strong emphasis on, you know, how government spends money and making sure that it is done in the correct way. And I felt like I definitely have absolutely no skill sets related to helping or saving lives or being, you know, wanting to become a firefighter. But I do have skill sets related to finance and understanding company culture and how to apply finance to an organizational structure and whether or not it's meeting the goals and value statements of that organization. So I decided to apply for this position because it kind of was a meld of what values I have from a personal perspective and the interests I have from a professional perspective.
Perfect.
Yes, I have a follow-up. I didn't quite hear, Lindsay. Did you say you work for TVFN.1?
No, I work for Intel Corporation out in Hillsborough.
Okay, was it in the budgetary area or?
With Intel, I work on digital experiences. The budget that I manage there is probably less than $500,000.
Okay, thank you.
Next question is, please summarize your understanding of the primary role and responsibilities of the budget committee.
So from my understanding of reading the documentation that was available on the website, Budget Committee's responsibility is to review the initial draft of the budget, ask questions, identify what possible changes may need to be made, provide those inputs, and then evaluate the final draft and provide their approval during the voting session. That's my basic understanding.
Question 3. Kind of already hit this, but these I think always do. What experience, skills, and abilities do you have that will support your role as a budget committee member?
Yeah, so I did talk about that. I did finish my MBA, and actually this is one of the areas of interest that I have that I don't get to leverage as often as work as I would like, which is I did spend an awful lot of time doing finance in my master's program and do not get to use that skill set in my day-to-day work anymore. But also, as I mentioned before, being in marketing public relations, being able to identify, as I like to call it, the do-say ratio, which is you gotta put your money where your mouth is. If Teams is the thing that you want to drive, the value of the organization is this, is it reflected in the number one thing that you do as an organization, which is your budget? Are we providing the value in the budget that we're promising the citizens? And can we make those connections to really show that we're providing that to the citizens? And I think that the importance of the budget committee and the citizen advisors is extremely important because it does the goal of having those citizens included is to show and provide that extra value that we have our voice and that we're meeting the budgetary requirements for the organization. So I have a lot of passion in that area to kind of drive that and to ask the questions that I don't often get to come here and ask because I'm watching my 2-year-old.
That'll keep you busy. Thank you. Question 4 is wonderful. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Oh, I talk a lot. No, I don't. I really appreciate the opportunity. I had a lot of fun getting to format and write my answers to the original. And by the way, if anyone ever wants to play with artificial intelligence, I did use that to draft the first section of answers for mine. Just so you know, it's really great. I absolutely love it. It is the tech I work in.
Love that.
Pitch.
That's a good pitch right there.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Lindsay. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes,
Want me to lend it?
please.
Please. Hello, we just have the same 4 questions. I'll ask you the same 4 questions we asked her and get your answers, so we kind of keep it fair. Perfect. So the first question is, please tell us about yourself and your interest in service as a budget committee member.
So I am almost 30-year firefighter with Walton Valley Fire and Rescue. Kind of started out, I was a volunteer with Gladstone, so I was around Clackamas Fire early on. Trained with them a lot, knew several people from the fire service over the years from here. Have always been in the service area, except for a short little stint where I was in Washington for a couple of years, but other than that, I've always lived in Clackamas' service area. In fact, I did one of my first ride-alongs was with Oak Lodge Fire back in the day. That really kind of turned me on to doing this job. So I've had a long career in the fire service. I'm currently serve as a lieutenant in Clackamas County at Station 5-7 for Walton Valley Fire. I also got to serve as for 6 years as the secretary treasurer for the local. So we had right about $1 million budget there that I ran for 6 years, attended conferences every year with different type of budgeting and financial stuff pertaining to the budget for our local. And then it's kind of always been something for me. I guess I'm also I put it in my thing, but I'm a father of 3. My wife and I just had our 20-year anniversary, and we're just getting the last one out of the house, so kind of reevaluating how all that stuff looks. So, and as that kind of changes for me, I'm also closer to retirement, which kind of puts me in a position I've always wanted to be involved with the fire district at some level as I kind of come in for a landing in my career. And I think that my operational understanding, my understanding of the NFPAs, the budgetary stuff, the difference between operations, how money gets divided, where it needs to go to different programs. I think I have a very good understanding of that. I've played in that for, like I said, 30 years. So I think I would offer a lot in those areas as a budget committee member for Clackamas.
Thank you. Second question is, please summarize your understanding of the primary roles and responsibilities of the budget committee.
So the budget committee, what I believe, we work with staff as the budget is developed, do workshops and then works with executive staff to kind of prioritize, look at, and help guide the process for what the final budget that comes to the board to be recommended to be adopted by the board.
Okay. Question 3, that we kind of hit this one already, but what experience, skills, and abilities do you have that will support your role as a budget committee member?
Yeah, no, yeah, secretary treasurer, like I said, I ran $1 million budget for 6 years. My members' money, so much like the same as you sit there with taxpayers' money, kind of the very similar thing, although I would say at some point in time, members maybe a little bit even more finicky than that. But and then throughout that time frame, I attended multiple conferences and different classes that helped me develop more of the skills that go along with the budget process, the adoption of, and then carrying out the budget, as well as reporting on it and being able to show transparency to my members of what their money came in for, what it was out for, and show them value, which is all the same thing that I believe a fire district will do for its members as well. So.
Question 4, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Anybody?
Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, like I said, I think I just think I have a pretty unique with my experience that I would bring to it, to be able to understand the operational needs of the department when we're making a determination of how money gets divided and spent.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for
Scott.
the opportunity.
Appreciate it. Thank you. We don't do anything yet, do we? Because we've got, that's next up, or not next up. If you guys, if you want to hang around, you can. If you want to go home, we'll figure out what we're gonna do and give you a call.
Maybe if we let them both come in, so we can thank them for coming.
Yeah, that would be.
Does that work?
Good plan. We didn't want to keep you guys. I just want to thank you for coming in and volunteering. You're welcome to stay for the meeting if it really excites you to watch what we do, but you also can head home if you'd like to. So whatever, and we can let you know our decision later. So whatever you want to do is fine, but we do appreciate having people apply. A lot of times these things go out and there's nobody applies, and to have 2 for a one opening is great, and we appreciate it. Okay, our next up thing is. No, it's the next, it's B2.
Oh.
I don't know.
So I guess at that, you're gonna wanna discuss. I think B2, right?
Yeah. So B1 is request board approval, new trustee on Clackamas Emergency Services Foundation Board. And we have Vice President Don Trotter is going to take care of that one for us. Twice in 6 months you're here. This is kind of, we're gonna get spoiled.
Well, I hope to be back many more times. One of our goals is to increase our membership as trustees.
And so we're striving to do that. We interview people, the executive committee, it starts with interviewing them and then that's what we did with Steve Campbell. Then we invite them to come to a trustee meeting to get to know better what we're doing and to meet the other trustees, and Steve did that. He was quite enthusiastic about it, as were the members. So I'm here this evening to ask you to approve his request to make him a trustee. You may know Steve, but he works for Happy Valley. He's been the Director of Community Services and Public Safety, Director of Parks and Recreation, and also serves as Director of Community Service and City Public Information Officer. So he's a rather active person. And he's looking forward to being a trustee. And he's sorry he couldn't be here this evening. He intended to come, but something happened and he couldn't make it. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions for Don?
How close are you to having a full board now?
Maybe close to half.
Thank you.
Jay, did you have any questions?
No, I don't. I'll just give a little quick report when it's my turn in a minute.
Okay. Thomas?
No, I
Yeah.
have no question. I know Steve for a long time, and I think it's a steal that he even, I don't know, somehow, how Don, you convinced him to join the board.
Do you have a question, Jerry?
Do you want me to answer that?
Did you bribe him with something?
No,
Take that offline.
He's familiar with the board, and after talking with us and learning more about what we want to do yet, what we're hoping to accomplish and planning to do, he was even more enthusiastic.
Yeah. I see. Yeah.
I just wanted to comment that Happy Valley has been a participant in the foundation as far as the police officers carrying the funds and being active for a long time. And it's good to see that they finally now have someone on the board and are taking a more active role. So I like that. And Steve's a good person too. I've known him for a long time.
Good choice. Okay, if nothing else, do I hear a motion for the board to approve Steve Campbell as a Clackamas Emergency Services Foundation Board Trustee?
So
I have Chris, I have the honor of proposing him to the board.
I have a motion and a second. Shelby, could you please call the roll, please?
Jay,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Marilyn. Yeah. Jim.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Don.
Don.
Appreciate it.
Good job, Don and Jerry. Jerry, good job. I would like to explain to the board why Don has been here 2 months in a row. I had vacations. Don did the interviews. He had face-to-face experience with the applicant. Jerry, I'm glad you didn't bring him today. Otherwise, we won't be able to go home in a good time.
That's hard to understand.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Thomas.
Okay, it's okay. He will translate for you.
What do we got next? Our next one is, request board approval for one budget committee appointment. So I will open that for discussion. We have our two applicants. Does anybody have a suggestion, a strong preference?
I have a preference to Lindsay. I think with the masters and with the education experience that she has, I think she might be a good asset. It's my personal opinion.
I concur with I concur with Thomas.
I think Scott, his service, starting at Gladstone as a volunteer and then his service with Walton Valley, I think is admirable, lifelong resident. So he had a lot of really good positive things. Lindsay also had a lot of good positive things. Her experience in business, her master's. And I guess what it came down to me in the end was Lindsay provided like a whole page and a half of really good
points that she wrote out, went really above and beyond. In adding a lot of additional items where Scott's was pretty brief, but again. I wish we had 2 vacancies because they'd be 2 perfect candidates, but I would concur with Thomas in the end, and my preference would be Lindsay.
But we could keep them on file, Jim, if there anything opens up, we could consider them.
Oh, we're not gonna let budget committee volunteers get away any, the last one.
I know.
I got him on my sunrise budget committee because he was lurking out there unattached to anybody, so I snatched him up. You get a volunteer to raise their hand, don't let them get away. Marilyn, did you have a preference?
Well, I would agree with what you said earlier, Chris, and that is, it's amazing to have 2 highly qualified people interested in having this job, when there have been years when we've gone rapping on the door saying, please, please, we need somebody to serve on the budget committee. So, it's unprofessional to say I flipped a coin, so I won't say that. But for me, then I looked at the geographic location, and we already have a couple people on the budget committee civilian side from Oregon City area. And so Lindsay's from Eagle Creek, and we don't have any buddy from Eagle Creek on this, so in the civil end of it. Of course, Jay is from on the board, so I would go with Lindsay from a geographic standpoint. To balance it for the different.
I had noticed that too, that's kind of having this geographical, well, it sounds like that we have a consensus for Lindsay. So at this point, do I hear a motion for the board to appoint Lindsay Murray to the Clackamas Fire Board Budget Committee for a 3-year term?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion
I'll
and a
second
second.
that.
And a second, which counts as a second squared, so 4. Shelby, get your call the roll, please.
Jay,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Perfect, motion carries. Lindsay, congratulations. Scott, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And no, don't think you've got away, because just in case anything happens, we have your name on file and we know where to find you.
Scott, you see what just happened right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
We appreciate you. This really is, it's very often when we do one of these that no one shows up, or you have ones who have a choice. To have 2 candidates is a blessing. Okay, this one is just gonna be a hurt. Request board approval of 1 Pierce Type 1 pumper engine purchase. Bill Bischoff, who's just gonna ruin my wallet.
Would you care for me to take the podium, or am I good here?
You can stay right there.
Alright, well. Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, you can rest easy because it is only 1. This year. Yeah, my report is as submitted, I will say. The fiscal year 29, February of 2029 can hopefully be bumped forward a little bit as Pierce builds capacity at multiple locations. Ideally, this one would still be built in Appleton where they build these specific pumpers, but as it stands right now, this is the price. We have been doing some shopping around as well, even though I'm not super interested in changing our fleet. They are all about the same price. And I, to meet the fit and finish, I believe that this is the best route for us to go. They remain supported. One thing we found with my recent visit to Las Vegas with the refurb pumpers is they refurb any brand, they're not specific. However, they do say that Pierce is the most supportive and they're the easiest to refurb. Because a lot of older apparatus, they just can't find parts for it. And the dealers just aren't able to support them in refurbishing other apparatus. And I will definitely continue going down that road as well. However, some of our apparatus just does need to get replaced.
Can I just have Bill just give a little bit of clarity? Other companies, the timeline's about the same as far as build out, correct? Like KME, I just found out 36 months to 42.
So KME is a very recognizable one, Spartan, Rosenbauer, all of those. Spartan, you can get some less spec'd out for probably under 3 years. But yeah, everybody's right around that 3-year mark.
Well, I think having a standardized fleet makes a lot of sense. Even when we started, it's not just parts, I mean, you're talking about the technical certification of the team, they gotta learn 2 different things, it doesn't make sense. So yeah, I like staying with that, I wish the price was about half of that. Well, I suppose that's what's gonna happen. Anybody have any questions? Marilyn, do you have any questions for Bill?
Okay, I understand why we have to have Pierce, but I just want to continue to say, anybody that let their fire engine burn down in our station is not somebody I want to do business with. But that said, we're stacked with fear. But, so your memo says the current timeline for delivery is about 4 years approximately. So, why are they gonna be able to tell us more accurately after you price the order than like today?
There are some changes that we have in this spec, or some, I guess, some specifics that we have in this spec that aren't locked in yet. And so once we land the plan on everything and place the order, that's when they'll be able to tell us it's 36 to, or I guess, sorry, 46 to 52 months. That window is continuing to kind of get a little narrower. But yeah, it really comes down to the changes that are kind of looming right now that we haven't landed the plan on yet.
Okay, and so in terms of escalation of that price, right now we would authorize a 1 million back. So is it possible that it would, if what happens then when they come to deliver it, they say, well, the price has gone up because we didn't make any changes, but they had cost material increases or whatever. Is there no cap whatsoever on how much they can increase the price?
It's my understanding that once we sign the agreement, because there's also a bid bond and there's no, I guess, change in the specs, there's really nothing that they can raise the price on us after we've agreed on the price.
So their cost, let's say that whatever you put on a minor pumper, and they come from someplace that is subject to these tariffs now, that it wasn't when they bid it, then they don't get to jack the price up.
That's all wrapped, yep, that is all wrapped up into their,
And that's whether we
expected price.
prepay it or not, it's based on the signing of the contract, not
Correct.
the prepayment. Thank you.
Jay, did you have any questions?
No.
Thomas, did you have any questions for Bill?
No, I don't.
Jim? Okay. How many things you got there for me? Other than not gonna tell me a lower number? No, see how you are disappointing me all the time. All right, well, since Bill's not gonna give me a lower number. Do I hear a motion for the board to approve the purchase of 1 Pierce Type 1 pumper apparatus not exceeding $1.1 million?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Shelby, could you please call the roll?
Jane,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Marilyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Motion carries. Bill, let's go forth and buy a pumper.
I'll let you know the savings I get when we do the pre-construction.
Good deal. Do everything you can. Get the sharp knives out. Okay. Next thing up is request board approval to authorize investments with maturities of greater than 12 months. CFO Mark Whitaker.
Great, thank you. So this is a business item very similar to the one you approved the last time. We purchased 2 pumpers. And it would authorize me as chief financial officer to invest the funds that you just authorized to purchase the apparatus. To invest those into US treasuries for up to 4 years so that we can earn interest on the funds while we await payment on the pumper. I checked with our investment advisor today. Interest rates are still at roughly the 3.75% annual rate of return for anywhere from a 3 to 4 year treasury. treasury note, so we would earn a little bit of extra interest than we would by making the prepayment. That comes with the expectation that interest rates are going to continue to fall, which is what most economists predict. Personally, I am a little bit on the fence of whether it makes sense to make this investment or to do the prepay or just hold on to the cash in the LGIP account, which is currently getting 4.6%. But I think it's probably a prudent thing to do to lock these funds up at a rate close to 3.75%. It'll probably look pretty good 2 to 3 years from now, if interest rates fall. So that's my recommendation. Obviously, the policy here is our district cash management policy says I need to come to you for any investment of greater than 12 months. And ORS requires the governing body to approve any investment of greater than 18 months. So that's why it's coming to you today.
Marilyn, do you have any questions for Mark?
Yes, so the LGIP is paying 4.6. Can you leave it in there for a while until you feel that maybe it's gonna change and then buy the treasury bonds, or is that not in your strategy, or you can't do that?
You can certainly do that. I think what you risk in that sense is what's ultimately gonna cause the LGIP rate to fall is the interest rates are falling. So by the time I start to see the LGIP rate fall, the 3-year, 4-year return is no longer gonna be 3.75%. It'll have fallen to 3 or 2 or whatever percent, and then I won't be able to lock in that good rate. So there's always ways that you can try to time the market. But it's always risky that you're gonna miss that moment. Especially in the uncertain environment we're in now. Interest rates could be entirely different next week, depending on policy choices and directions and things, so.
Well, I just, we allowed you to invest outside the LGIP, and then the performance of the LGIP has been greater than those investments have been, and so I just want to be sure that we have stabilized it, yeah. So if you can't guarantee it, but if you're confident.
Can't guarantee it. There's always interest rate risk that you're gonna not time the market well, or there's a shock that you don't predict and interest rates end up higher. So.
Okay, so for your treasury should be coming due then about the right time, is that?
Yeah, I mean, we can buy treasuries usually with any maturity date that we want. So I'd probably do closer to 42 months or something like that to make sure that we have the cash. But presumably we would have the cash anyway. It's just a way to lock up the money that we don't need right away.
Is this money then earmarked essentially for this? It can't be used for anything else?
Correct.
So, I mean, irrespective of whether it's tied up in the treasury note where you can't reach it anyway, but if it wasn't, once we've said that this is what we want to do with this money, does that mean that that's?
We've committed it, yeah.
Yeah.
So like our year-end financial statement, it'll show as committed funds. We've signed the contract, promising the vendor we're gonna pay this upon delivery of the apparatus.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but you would
I
still.
don't want you to say, well, we're gonna save $250,000 every year, and then we'll just pay for it at the end.
No, right, and that's part of locking it up, is we have the funds now due to the one-time funds from the levy, and so being able to set it aside, right? We'll make sure that it's still there, right? Or we could do the prepayment and then it's completely locked up because they're holding on to it, so.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions, Jay? Jay, do you have any questions for Mark on this?
No.
Thomas?
No.
No, I appreciate you looking at the different options, Mark. I mean, it's kind of not as clear cut as the last time, but it's still. If we all do that, we make an extra 40,000, and 40,000 will do something, so, okay, good. Do I hear a motion for the board to authorize the chief financial officer to invest up to $1 million in investment types with maturities of up to 4 years?
So moved.
I'll second that.
I have a motion, a second. Shelby, could you call the roll, please?
Jay,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay, next up, other business, we have liaison reports. It looks like I even get to be up first. Somewhere I written down my stuff was. Where did oh, there it is. So at the last civil service meeting, they had, that they kind of acknowledged the new hires, the promotions, retirements, all the different things. They also swore in the new, two new civil service commission members, Lee Merrick and Marshall Holstein. And I hope I did that one. And they approved a whole bunch of lists because we're with retirement and stuff, we're gonna kind of a cascading. Upscaling or something, because you're gonna start losing people retiring and have to everybody go up, so they did firefighter, paramedic, public education, support, suppression lieutenants, PIO, battalion chief. And I think division chief too, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, lists for everything, so good meeting, it was nice that the two new civil service members, I think, are gonna be great. Lee was very involved and was asking some great questions and kind of figuring out how the whole thing worked, so, a really positive meeting. EMS committee, did you guys have a meeting, Jay or Thomas?
No, we did not.
No, okay, Jay, no executive committee, did we? No, I didn't think so. Foundation liaison, Jay, did you have anything to report from foundation?
Yeah, we had a meeting last month. It was actually a pretty good meeting. It was short, which was short, but to the point. And as you guys know, we just voted in a trustee, so got some good energy in the foundation. The marketing plan's being in, they're actually starting to do it. That marketing plan that Ron put together last year. So things are moving along. There's now the decision is trying to be made whether they're going to do a benefit dinner or not, like they have in the past. Still haven't landed on that or not, but more to come on that. But things are headed in the right direction. It's slow, but it's headed in the right direction. Also, I don't know if you guys knew, but Rachel left us. She's no longer our executive secretary. She's expecting another child, and she just doesn't have the time now. And Susie Dieters is taking her job, and Susie, I think, is going to do a great job there. So, but anyway, there you go.
Thanks, Jay. Interagency committee, did you guys have okay?
Just the joint work session from Sandy that everyone was there
Yeah.
on April 16th, and then tomorrow the Gladstone joint work session at 5:30 p.m.
Yeah, look forward to that one. Did you guys have a volunteer? You've done a volunteer association? Okay.
I wasn't there, but the chief was, and you'll probably give an update during your.
Okay. And we got a capital committee meeting. Carolyn, you wanna take that one?
Yeah, we met with Denise and Mark, and, it was an excellent presentation, I thought, as the capital needs and the plans and where, and how we're moving forward.
I would concur.
And we will have one with Bill on the 30th.
That was, yeah, it's really good meeting. Kind of got a date. It's good to see Denise is getting things right in order. Okay. I think that does anybody have any board informational updates or comments? Okay, then information only division department reports. Chief Brown, I'll share an update from the office of fire chief.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Quite a busy month. I want to call special attention to that picture you see on the fire chief's report with the wildland sim table training. That was a grant. We received this sim table from a do you remember what was the type of grant? I can't remember. Stop me again right quick. I just had a I know for $89,000 to purchase that table. Do you remember, Brian?
I think it was a state homeland security.
State Homeland Security, yeah, that sounds right. The beautiful thing about this table is that it has predictive analytics to, like, we could run the Riverside Fire and predict what the RH levels are of the fuel, the different terrain types, and the fire will run accordingly to whatever's programmed into this table. And so then you can go in and you can implement strategies and tactics. And then you can see what the fire would do based on the strategies and the tactical objectives that you put forward. It's been a great regional opportunity for us. As you see on that picture, there's members from Oregon State Fire Marshal's Office, ODF, City of Portland Fire. But it's really a game changer as we start facing the real threat that we have in wildfire. Obviously 2020 wasn't a fluke. And so Clackamas Fire is leading the front with wildfire in this arena and engaging our strategic partners along the way, which is awesome. Brent and his team are doing amazing work. And yeah, that's just a small example of some of the things that they do day in and day out. Attended with Chief Stewart, we went to Washington DC with Western Fire Chiefs and OFCA for legislative week. That's basically what it's called, right? We met with members of Congress and senators. And we really focused on four main topics. And there was four main initiatives for wildfire throughout the nation that we were in support of and that we spoke to that really kind of focused in on fuel mitigation, reduction of fuels, predictive analytics, utilizing AI. Shout out for AI there. To help us with wildfire predicting that, because we all know that time is of the essence with wildfires and all emergencies that we go on. We spoke to GEMT and the importance of that remaining funded, as well as the public safety broadband. And then last but not least, I would argue one of the biggest things that came out of that week was the mental health of our firefighters and initiatives being brought forward regarding that. So just a very productive trip and my first time in the Capitol, but it was an awesome experience and being able to fight for these causes. AP Triton, last month, AP Triton reached out to us regarding the three cities that the public comment was speaking to. On AP Triton reaching out to us as well as the three city administrators, we pushed forward for their report, a proposal. And that report should be coming out, I would guess, within the next month or two with what the AP Triton findings are regarding that. Arbitration. Arbitration is scheduled for the 28th and 29th of May. You know, in every negative situation, there's some light that if you sift through the muck that you can focus on. I'd have to say, and Andrew can speak to this on his end, but from my view of the conversations between Local 1159 and our bargaining team, they have been dedicated meetings, often 10 to 11 hours a day. That might be a little extreme, 10 hours a day, but dedicated meetings between the two groups. A lot of hours put in from both sides, and understanding right now that there's some hurt feelings within the organization. It's my job as the fire chief to help people understand why we're where we are. And so we're continually working on helping to educate and help our people understand. With that, I would just like to close real quickly by thanking Lindsay and Scott for coming and participating in the budget. This is it's a big deal. And I just can't thank you enough for taking away the time, being willing to take away the time for your families, for the Clackamas Fire family, and helping us to maintain this open and transparent process that we have. So thank you. But with that, I'd like to, that's all I have. I'd like to answer any questions that you may have for me.
Jay, did you have any questions for Chief
No, thank you.
Thomas?
He was saying,
He's good.
Thomas, did you have any questions for the chief?
No.
Okay. Jim?
I'm good.
Marilyn? Okay, perfect, thank you, Chief. Assistant Chief Stewart will now share an update from the Office of Strategic Services.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board.
A few updates tonight. Appreciate Chief jumping in on a couple of them related to the Morgan's work and the DC trip.
Picked on you and said Dieters this time.
Oh, I'm sure you got leaders as well. Just to tag into the DC trip, the fire chief mentioned about 4 areas of focus, one of which, as you've heard from Jeff Griffin, myself, the fire chief, Chief Mulligan on, has to do with firefighter mental health, which is a priority. And it's really interesting this trip. In previous years, we've really, while we've always spoken to things of Oregon interest, we've always really taken what is leading with the nation and what the bills out there are and where we want legislators to take positions on our behalf. But this was a year where the concept of needing to address federal funding for firefighter mental health and wellness was a priority. So really associated and kind of reflective of the Law Enforcement Mental Health and Wellness Act, which has about $10 million of funding a year. One of the Oregon representatives agreed to, or at least expressed strong interest in taking up that measure. She's looking for bipartisan support for a bill on that. So a really effective legislative trip, at least for Oregon's interests this year. A couple other pieces, really Fast Tech has done a number of things, and I appreciate Shelby's assistance, Kelly's, as well as Patty's work on a number of cleanup items. Just going through, we've done a few major overhauls of things, but now working on really exciting things like Microsoft 365 licenses, and trying to make those as cost effective as we can. Looking at lines of service for telecommunications and fire alarms. So some real detailed work over this past month, but it's been good and productive. And then other things this month, for me in particular, working on our budget, of course, for my office, but also C800 and CCOM budgets were addressed. Preparations for wildfire season, and a lot of work done on state wildfire funding and forest aid classification in particular. And then working on the Gladstone, with Gladstone and the team in preparation of work sessions coming forward and open houses and those types of activities. Lastly, just a brief touch since we're mid-session on the legislative session. So April 9th marked the first chamber deadline where bills have to go from one chamber to the next. There were 3,400 bills introduced this session. As of now, just over 51% of those remain, so just over 1,700. Of course, there will be a few priority bills and others entered. But OFCA has been busy and engaged with the fire service. We've provided written and verbal testimony on over 20 bills, participated in panels discussions, and shown our support for legislators and partners by attending key hearings in uniforms. We've been having a number of sessions with or meetings with legislators on a number of bills throughout the session as well. Big ones out there for us include wildfire funding and forest land classification, which is House Bill 3940, EMS modernization, which is House Bill 3572, which is stemming from, it's kind of the EMS modernization phase 2, coming out of a bill from a couple of years ago. Balance billing, which is how recipients of care would be billed on ambulance transports. That's House Bill 3243. We've been working on that bill with Oregon State Ambulance Association. Going back, and I think we've spoken about this before, peer support confidentiality, PFAS and turnouts, and then a few others that we've been successful in having influence that aren't necessarily moving forward in the way that they were originally intended, which is Senate Bill 788. We watched this one. Oregon Fire and Marshals Association took a position that would have allowed for wedding receptions and other events to be held on exclusive farm use land in Eastern Oregon and facilities that are not built for or intended for those activities. So we were neutral on that, but the fire department took a position. It died in committee. And then Senate Bill 49 was one that threatened our ability to have influence on the Building Code Structures Board. It would have provided the opportunity to remove the Fire Protection Agency seat and have that either with that position or have a fire protection engineer, which are the people who design fire sprinkler systems and alarm systems for buildings, but don't have the practical application of being a fire protection agency. So we worked on that, and that bill has been amended to add
positions, and maintain our position on that board, which is, really exciting and important work. And then a few others, including, last one I'll touch on, which is, moving forward and has been amended and is doing, well, is House Bill 3505. Which alleviates any increase in charges if you're simply upsizing your water meter at a new residence, to allow for fire sprinklers. So that is we allow, again, reduces the cost of housing and making sure people are protected in their homes. So those are the big ones. Major issues are still unresolved, including transportation package, the wildfire package, although there's movement on that, and then moving the needle on housing. Everyone's looking forward to May 14th, when the next economic forecast comes out, and seeing how that impacts what the legislature might think as we get closer to the end of session. That's all I have.
Brian, is that public view, or is that just that economic forecast, or is that?
That'll be released on May 14th. That's.
No, so it's getting released May 14th. That's not okay.
Any questions for Brian? Alright. So no charge for upsizing a water meter? So House Bill 3505, if you have like a 5/8 meter going to a residence, and the only thing that you are putting in is a sprinkler system, and that is going to require it going from a 5/8 to a 3/4. There would be no charge, no SDC for the difference between those two meters costs. But if that meter is ever used for anything other than the residential sprinkler, say you put in another bath, you put in an AD, you do whatever else, there'd be additional, or that SDC could be recouped. There's nobody from the water industry on that board, is there? It has gone through SDO water districts, Gresham provided comment on it. If you can find somebody that's putting in a 5/8 meter, I'd like to meet him. I might have the size of them. They're actually. Don't hold me to that. Normal for a house is considered 5/8, but nobody puts them in, everybody puts in a 3/4. So they call it almost a 5/8 equivalent, it's an absolute stupid, but there's probably not any 5/8 meters that they put in and. God knows how long. Anyway, good to know that out of those 3,400 bills, they're fixing a problem that probably doesn't exist. There you go. God, I love America.
It's a great place to live.
All right, Mr. Dieters, you're up.
All right,
Thanks,
thank
Brian.
you, Mr. President, members of the board. We have a few community events coming up through community services. One is the Sandy Sportsman's Breakfast, supporting that in conjunction with the Kiwanis. It'll be the second year in a row. So it'll be Saturday, and it's about 7 to 1-ish around there. So feel free to stop by there. You all attended the work session at Sandy, so thank you for that. And they covered the polling results there. So the crews, the volunteer folks still continue to do a great job out in Sandy. I think the survey kind of reflected that, what they're doing day in and day out, they're doing great work. And so I really appreciate their support out there. And then health and wellness, spent the month getting all the volunteers through their health and wellness and all of that stuff. So kind of brief this month, but happy to answer any questions.
Do you have any questions for Steve? Okay, Thomas, do you have any questions for Steve? And I think you're right, just for the public that's out there, the survey they did in Sandy that we've been providing under contract since July of 23. The survey found that 91% of Sandy residents were pleased with the service they've gotten from Clackamas Fire. So those polled, those polled, yes, well, you know, the survey says, those are incredible numbers, absolutely stunning. So crews must be doing great stuff out there. Okay. Office of Emergency Services, Assistant Chief Dan Gillick.
Did you skip Whitaker?
Did I?
Happy to go though.
You know what happened is because you were sitting over there earlier and you moved on me. I got confused for an hour. Go ahead.
Okay. So there, per usual, there is the finance report in your board packet. A couple things I'd highlight today, just on the first page of the report, they're page 16. So, this report shows, expenses and revenues through March 31st. So you're looking at 75% of the year. If you look at the bottom left corner there,
general fund salary and benefits, we've only spent about 72.7% of our budget. And there's a couple reasons that we're low there. The biggest one being that we budgeted for the 4% COLA, which because the contract is not settled yet, we haven't actually paid that yet. So that if that went the full 12 months, that would be just over probably $2 million in a retro payment, and that'll get us right back to budget. So that's why that is trending low. Going to the next page, page 17, you know, we look at these charts every month, so just thought I'd highlight this time the month-end fund balance. And as you can see from that, with the last 2 years, we've seen a pretty dramatic improvement in our fund balance. That includes all of the cash we have on hand, plus any investments, regardless of their liquidity. You know, and what I'd point out from that is that green bar for this year, again, it does include a lot of commitments, right? So we just talked about the 4% COLA. So we're sitting on, you know, probably about this point, about $1.5 million in owed wages that we will owe once that contract is settled. We have about $4 million now committed to future apparatus purchases, $2 million committed to the facilities projects that we're currently undergoing. So even though the balance shows there, some of those funds have been committed. So it's not as large as it looks. We just have the time element of waiting for the apparatus to be delivered and so on. But it is still an improvement, and obviously a healthy improvement from the levy funds. And then I was gonna highlight the last page of the report, page 20, which is the investment report. And Marilyn commented on this earlier, but I did want to highlight the first 2 investments that we hold are 2 U.S. Treasury bills, one that matures in May and one that matures in June. And as you can see, as you can see there, they have an interest rate of just over 4%. Whereas if we had left those funds in the LGIP, because the LGIP rate has not dropped as much as forecasted, they would have earned a higher rate at 4.6%. And so that's part of the interest rate risk that I was talking about. In this case, we did have to move those funds out of the LGIP because at the time in November, we had exceeded the maximum amount allowed in the LGIP. But if I had to do it all over again, I would have put them into, you know, 2 or 3 months treasuries rather than 5 or 6 months treasuries. And been able to put them back in at that 4.6% rate when our balance dropped. But you can see our other investments that we made are looking quite good. Those were longer term investments. The first 2 are for the loan repayment, where we're looking to pay down the 2018 loan principal, and then the last one there is the investment that we're holding to pay off the 2 engines that were ordered last year. In non-financial news, I did want to highlight for Bill, they were able to surplus some vehicles and the command bus last month. So those you guys had approved the surplus of those items, and they've been able to move some of those. As Bill already mentioned, we have sent 2 of our frontline engines down to Las Vegas for being refurbed. And purchased a used van to replace the Hubvet van, which has been pretty dated. And then facilities, Station 12 remodel and the training center remodel are underway. And we'll get some more progress on that next month, but they are in motion. So that's it, unless there's any questions.
Thomas, Jay, did you have any questions?
Yes. Okay, so congratulations on the general fund, but what about the overtime, which is 3.7% beyond off of budget?
Yes,
Which
so
is
this,
a lot of money.
it's a lot of money. And we are it is trending better, just as I expected it would, right? As we've right-sized our staffing a little bit. The first half of the year was always expected to trend high due to the levy staffing. With the academy graduates in January, we have seen it's the overtime start to slow in terms of operational replacement. But as I've said all along, we are expected to exceed our budget for ops replacement by approximately $1 million, depending on how the last few months of the year go. But we have revenue. Well, one, we have some under expenditures. We'll have some under expenditures on the staffing side because the academies were not as big as we budgeted.
And then we'll have some excess revenue, particularly from the conflagrations that we went on this year, that we will still in the year bringing in more revenue than we spent. But I agree that it is high and that'll be part of the discussion for the budget for next year to right size that budget and get an alignment.
It's not always a matter of right sizing, it's just controlling it, because you can keep pushing the number up, but that doesn't control how much it becomes. I guess the fundamental question is what's occurring to try to meet the budget, not other than just upping the budget. It's just a rhetorical question.
Well, Maryland beat that dead horse before I could get a good swing at it.
Go ahead.
But somebody had it. Just the steps we did to get less in the overtime don't seem to have kicked in yet. So we'll keep hoping and harping. Okay, now. Ready? If no one has anything else for Mark, we'll let Dan talk. Briefly.
I appreciate it. All right, thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Just quick rundown from emergency services. Wildland Crew 30 is now assembled and they're gonna be rostered. We're looking at early May. Sounds like they're gonna be picking up maybe 3 more people around the 1st of June. I assume it's waiting for school to get out. So they're prepping for the RT 130, which is a wildland recertification. So just all the normal annual refresher stuff to get ready for the fire season. From the EMS office, the priority right now is our EMT and paramedic recertification. I think we have about 100 people that are finished with their recertification out of the agency, like all the way, like process all the way through. Chief Brown's one of them. I'm not.
Just saying, just saying.
But it's, that is quite the endeavor for that office to accountability, making sure that all the target solutions and training records are up to speed. And then you had mentioned it with the Civil Service Commission report, but we do have a lot of movement. Some of that movement is in the division chief rank with our EMS chief who's looking to retire by the end of the year. So we have a process that is initiated now. Applications are open to fill his position. So from the ops side, Chief Mike Bauer, he was our IC of the Blue Heron Fire. He put out probably it probably was the best after action review that we've done and that the organization has put out. Is just an hour-long video that was on Target Solutions. A very humble approach to the things that we did right, and the things that we could improve on. I'm really grateful for the efforts that he put in there. He was tactfully able to say the things that we need to improve on, and communication components and everything. So really, really good on the heels of some pretty significant incidents that we've had over the last couple of years and some near misses. I think he did a really good job as the incident commander selling the improvement list for the organization. The operations, big part of the month has been consumed with promotional processes, interviews, and preparation for opening up Station 12 and Academy 2502. We have a significant number of interviews that we're doing booked out this month in preparation for that. So we just interviewed 9 or 10 AOs off the certified list today, and we're looking to do a new roster with a bunch of promotions by May 15th. Regionally, we have regional ops meeting this last month. The focus was mutual aid task forces and strike teams. So that would be not like a conflagration strike team or task force, but this would be on the mutual aid side. So instead of calling up Portland and asking, can you send 3 engines? We would have a run card with that request. So between Washington County, Multnomah County, and Clackamas County, thanks to Chief Shireman, Clackamas County was the first one to get it done and get it done very, very well. So we have 2 different, actually a variation, 2 different options. We have a strike team, which is all 5 resources are identical. And then we have a task force, which is mixed resources. He divided up between a north and a south area, not just Clackamas Fire, but within Clackamas County. So we have all of our mutual aid partners in the county that are tied to this. It shows up as a mutual aid strike team or task force in CAD, and it is just a push of a button. It comes with a battalion chief, which is going to be BC 303, and it has 3 predetermined point of departures, depending on where the incident is. So it's all picked off of predetermined
resources off of, from the Fire Defense Board resources. So we were the first one to get that going. Thanks to CCOM for putting that together for us. And Washington County, Multnomah County are trying to jump on board with the process that we did to complete that. The idea behind it is just to expedite the response and keep fire small, as we're working through the upgrades and mutual aid before we get to reaching out to the Fire Defense Board chief and our RMC from OSFM and actually pulling the big red handle on a conflagration. So
Can I ask just a quick follow-up? So
Yep.
it's really intriguing, this concept of mutual aid that you're talking about. So Clackamas Fire always responds to mutual aid, right? Like whenever we're called, we typically go. So if it's doesn't matter if it's in Multnomah County, doesn't matter if it's in Washington County, we send resources. Okay, that's love that proactive approach. I think that's phenomenal. It's represents doing the right thing for our communities, knowing that we're sized as an organization to be able to handle most calls. We're fortunate in that. Walton Valley's fortunate that way, and Portland's fortunate that way. But I love the proactive approach of mutual aid and not letting geopolitical boundaries deter us from responding and doing the right thing. So I appreciate you leading the front in that by your example. So that's pretty amazing.
Thanks, Chief Sharman, Mr. Thank for that.
Yeah.
So he was the lead on that and spent a couple months getting that going. The other topics regionally are lithium ion battery fires. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but they are a big deal. We're not just talking Teslas and electric vehicles, but we're talking electric scooters and everything now that's lithium ion that has explosive reactions when they catch on fire and super dangerous to the public and firefighter safety. So we're working on that regionally to hopefully work through a regional protocol. The hazmat team, our local hazmat team kind of took the lead on that, has been working to put together a draft document. So those are the two big things regionally that we're working on. And then it was mentioned earlier, but just in closing, CRO West is organized a regional kind of crawl, walk, run exercise for escalating incidents within our county. So this week is a pretty decent sized exercise. We have 75 people today attending. This is going to be utilizing the sand table. This is an exercise with the local battalion chiefs, our law partners from OSFM, ODF, our mutual aid partners. We have a lot of from Portland Fire, Walton Valley coming over, and we're going to run through an exercise and run through evacuations. The idea is to get everybody in the room and work through this, and then the follow-up would be that he's going to go out and meet with other groups and work through a month later with the PIOs, get all the regional PIOs together, see how they would run through this and finish this exercise through, and just keep building off it. So pretty big victory. They're organized by CRO West. Everybody in the region is jumping on board. So yeah, great things to come. So besides that, a report.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Dan? No? Okay, thank you, Dan. Next up, Professional Firefighters, Clackamas County, your local 1159, Vice President Andrew Gordian. Andrew, you're up.
Mr. President, members of the board, thank you so much. So I just have two quick updates. I'd like to congratulate apparatus operator Chuck Carlick and apparatus operator Eric Item on their retirement at the end of last month. Had some parties for them, it was good. So also we do orientations with academies. Every time an academy comes through, we kind of orient them, tell them about stuff, talk to them about what their paycheck looks like and give them all that information. We're looking at doing a more robust financial education piece with the academies coming up. So that's the other thing we're looking into. But other than that, that's all I got. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer it.
Anybody have any questions or comments for Andrew?
Can I ask just one quick thing? Are you like looking at like deferred compensation, those types of things? Is that like the education, that piece?
Yeah, similar to what Chief Sharman has done in the past, kind of taking over that and having some more professional like PowerPoints and explanations of everything. So
that's cool.
Help get people off on the right foot.
Strong work.
Good. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, guys.
Volunteer Associates report. Volunteer President Joe Johansson.
Good evening, President Haas and ladies and gentlemen of the board. Thank you for having me.
going through in March, we had our fifth drill of the quarter, fifth drill of the month, but with Hoodman Fire, we went through garage fires at Station 14. I was not there for that drill, unfortunately, but I heard it went well, working together with Hoodman. The Dover Station was staffed 28 of the 31 nights of March. Going through, we had our second quarter board meeting with his volunteer association, and we had Chief Brown, Assistant Chief Dieters, and Battalion Chief McCullough that were in attendance that gave great updates to the organization. We have 2 current and 1 former volunteer firefighter that I know of that went through chief's interviews, and I wish them good luck in the process. The volunteers are currently working through the applicants that were submitted, and then the Explorer program apps are open now. So share the word. The upcoming events, we got the Sportsman Breakfast again this weekend, and then the next event we're looking at was the Station 71 open house on May 3rd. So that's everything I have. If you have any questions.
Any questions or comments for Joe? I would just like, make sure you tell the volunteers that 91% approval out in Sandy. A big chunk of that is staff in that Dover station, the volunteers. People don't know it's volunteers. They just know there's firefighters out there that are hitting those calls, and they appreciate it.
Definitely.
So that 91%, you guys own a whole bunch of that.
Thank you. I'll make sure to pass that along.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Next up is correspondence. Everybody get a chance to look at correspondence? One I think especially noteworthy is someone sent a card specifically to Alicia King and took the trouble to handwrite a note, because it sounds like she came and gave her some advice and some medical and explained things to her. To get somebody that takes the time to do that is just incredible. So somebody give Alicia a pat on the head for us, because that's amazing. Okay, information. Oh, sir.
I just wanted to comment on the comment that we received from someone about staffing Clark's Station 13. For the first time ever, being able to respond quickly to that area has been a game-changing event. So people are noticing the staffing of those rural stations. So it's going to be nice to open 12. Then we'll have that same service that we provided, that people are really appreciating at 13.
Yeah, starting on that, they did, I'm sure you're tracking the fire that was in Beaver Creek. That was, let me see if it made
2
it
weeks ago.
in here. What's that?
It wouldn't be on this one. It'll be on next month's.
There was a fire, there, kind of the corner there where the Beaver Creek store is, and apartment stuff above, and being able to get resources there on a pretty complex chopped up building. That was pretty impactful as well to have 13s there. So definitely, I think that was the first pretty significant fire, building fire in the area where we got a good offensive knock on.
Okay, any informational items for anyone? No. The next board of directors meeting will be Monday, May 19th, 2025 at 5 p.m. The meeting will be hybrid, with the public invited to attend either by remote video conference or in person at Station 5, 9339 Southeast Causey Avenue, Happy Valley, Oregon 97086. At this point,
We need to get the warning about the chief was offered. Okay, we will be going in executive session. The fire chief is under review, which is a normal practice, but under the law, he is entitled to request and be held in public. As my understanding, he is requesting the executive session.
Yep.
All right.
thank you. Okay,
Good catch.
yeah. The regular board of directors meeting is now recessed at 6:27. If you're attending in person, please make your way to the lobby while the executive session is conducted. Okay. The board of directors meeting will now reconvene at 7:23 p.m. In the executive session, no decisions or actions were made or taken. The regular board of directors meeting is now adjourned at 7:24 p.m.
Thank you.
Hi, Jay.
Yeehaw.
Thanks, everybody.
Jay.